Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 9 in the 2017 Haas IndyCar Series. We are here at the Watkins Glen International for the first of 2 races at this very wonderful racetrack here today. It is the Duel at the Glen, race number 1, a 12-lap event here today on this 3.4-mile road course in Watkins Glen, New York. And the point standings are going to be shaken up here today as we got the points leader, Matt Dalio, starting deep in the field with Christian Master Jonathan Rains not too far behind him in the points, starting up front. It's going to be a very interesting day because we got 2 races here at the Watkins Glen International, and even this first race could be a major factor towards the championship here today in the Haas IndyCar Series. This racetrack is so good that we have 2 races here every season, and I'm looking forward to both of these events here today. This first one at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and later tonight at 6 p.m. we got race number 2 here at the Watkins Glen International. Anyways, coming into today's race in the point standings, it's still Matt Dalio, who has won 3 races so far this season. He's been the dominant guy of the season in the Haas IndyCar Series. 262 points for him, but only 13 points behind. We got the number 17 of Jonathan Rains, only 13 points behind. And even considering all that Matt Dalio has done this season, the guy who hasn't even won yet this season, Jonathan Rains, is still only 13 points behind. A very great season so far for Jonathan Rains. Been very consistent, and that's what you go for here in the Haas IndyCar Series if you want the championship. It's consistency, not necessarily wins. But the guy who is leading in the points has won 3 times this season, so that does help as well. But Rains has been extra consistent this season, and that's why he's right there in 2nd place in the points, considering all that Matt Dalio has done this season. Christian Master, 43 points behind, running in the 3rd place in points. Luke Rainey, 61 points behind, and Zachary Fitzwater, 67 points behind. And that's the top 5 in points coming into race number 1 here in the Duel at the Glen at the Watkins Glen International. The first of 2 races here today around this 3.4-mile road course. And let's go ahead and reset it so that our pole sitter, Audra Baranowskis and Zachary Fitzwater, can start the race. And we should be good to go here for race number 1 in the Duel at the Glen. Everybody rolling off this time, which means that all 25 competitors should start race number 1 here in the Duel at the Glen. And if you couldn't already tell, Audra Baranowskis starts on the pole for this one. She's going to grab a bonus point towards the championship for starting 1st place here today at Watkins Glen. Alongside her, it's Al Lagasse in the number 20. Neither of these guys have really shown too much prominence yet this season, but they might score a victory here today at the Watkins Glen International. Right behind them, we got a couple guys in championship contention. Christian Master running 3rd in the points coming into today's race in the number 25. Starts alongside the 17 of Jonathan Rains. Both of those guys could be the points leader at the end of the day, counting both of the races we have here at Watkins Glen. Row 3 sees the number 17, or excuse me, number 15. Row 2 has the number 17. Row 3 has the number 15, that's Jesse Turner. Starting alongside the number 21 of Chris Skinlart. Jesse Turner won the Dodge Throwback Series here at Watkins Glen back in, I do believe, February? Pretty sure that's when it was. That was his first one of the year. He also won the opening event in the 2017 Haas IndyCar Series. Row 4, Trey Bartow in the number 2, starting alongside Cameron Garlington. My goodness! We're going to have to reset it again. We'll get to the top 10 starting grid here, but Cameron Garlington will start alongside Trey Bartow. Then it's Nicholas Samedillo, did it again, starting alongside Noah Cars in row 5. Let's go ahead and reset it so that the defending winner of race 1 in the Duel at the Glen can start, Cameron Garlington in the number 77. And we are finally ready to go. All 25 drivers are finally going to start this race here in race number 1 at the Duel at the Glen. First one here at 4 p.m., second one at 6 p.m., and at the end of the day, we could have a totally different championship look. Pace cars pulled off. Audra Baranowskis, Al Lagasse, the first of 2 races is green here at Watkins Glen. Baranowskis trying to get the run on the inside, but Lagasse with a great jump on the outside is going to take it away from the 16. Jonathan Rains splitting the middle 3 wide for the lead at Watkins Glen. Baranowskis in the grass, and the number 17 side by side with Al Legacy on the first lap of the race. How about this number 17, Jonathan Rains? He's a man on a mission. He wants to take the points lead at the end of this race away from Matt Dalio, and he wants to get his first career win on Napa Fan as well. He's side by side with Legacy, heading into the carousel. Gotta be careful here. Saw a lot of crashes there in the Indy Lights race on Monday. Did not want to have one here in the IndyCar race. Legacy trying to get back to the inside of Rains, but he's not able to do so as Rains does a good jump entering the boot. Master up to third. Baranowskis has fallen back to the fourth position. Legacy back to the inside of Jonathan Rains. And the number 20 of Al Legacy might in fact lead this lap. He's got the inside lane here. But Jonathan Rains is going to hang tough on the outside. Great racing here at the Watkins Glen International in race 1 of the Duel at the Glen. We got 24 laps of action here at Watkins Glen. 2 12-lap races. This is just the first lap of the day. Rains on the inside of Al Legacy. I might want to let him get the position because this final corner can be treacherous, especially if you're on the outside lane. And Jonathan Rains overshot the corner. He's going to fall back. And Al Legacy is going to lead lap number 1 here in race 1 of the Duel at the Glen. That is a tough break for Jonathan Rains. Just pushing it a little too hard, trying to take the lead away from Al Legacy, but unable to make it stick, and he shot up the racetrack, hit that outside wall hard, and that is the one thing about this racetrack. Watkins Glen International, those guys overshoot that final corner very frequently. Anyways, back up front, Al Legacy in the number 20 currently leads the field, but Christian Master was a good chance at taking the points lead at the end of the day. Not necessarily at the end of this race. He need Matt Dalio to finish last and for him to win if that were to happen. But Master with a great chance at taking the points lead at the end of the day if he can get 2 strong finishes in the 2 races here today at Watkins Glen. Not able to get around Legacy as our pole sitter, Audra Baranowskis, is trying to take second from the number 25. She fell back there on the first lap of the race, but she is rebounding here in the number 16 with a chance at possibly taking the lead away from Al Legacy. But Legacy still out front in the number 20. Great run for him so far. Starting on the outside pole for this race. Leads the first lap of action. And he's got side by side behind him, which means that he can pull away here for the lead. Still side by side for the second position. You gotta be careful there through NASCAR turn 6. These guys, they hit that curb, they slide into the tire barriers, and Master in the number 25 in the outside wall hard. Baranowskis is going to take second away from the 25. That's an unfortunate one for Christian Master. Chris Skinlart's going to take third away from the number 25, and Skinlart is now up to third in the number 21. How about this? Cameron Garlington, pretty sure he won the first Duel at the Glen race last year. He knows how to get it done at Watkins Glen. He's up to 5th, the defending champion of the series, with a great chance at getting the win here today. I believe that is Nicholas Samadillo in the number 10. Right behind Samadillo, it's Jesse Turner, the only 2 Daytona 500 champions in the field. Cameron Garlington to the inside of Christian Master, trying to take the 4th position away from the 25. Trying to get the run on the outside, not able to do so quite yet. Noah Cars is here in the top 10 in the number 28, currently running in the 8th position. Jonathan Rains is 9th, and Trey Bartow is 10th. There goes Jesse Turner to the inside of Nicholas Samadillo, but I do not believe he's going to be able to make that pass stick. So we remain single file up front. Al Legacy pulling away a little bit here in the number 20. Throughout the field, I do believe all 25 drivers are still in this race. Remember the Indy Lights race that we had on Monday? Those guys were crashing like crazy. Only 3 guys avoided significant contact out of 14 who started that race. Hopefully we do not have that here today in either race at the Watkins Glen International, but this is Watkins Glen, one of the craziest road courses we go to on Napa Fan, and anything is possible whenever we come here in any series. The Chick-fil-A Cup Series is going to be here for Season 6, by the way. I'm sure a lot of you guys are looking forward to that race. It's going to be a chase race, too, or a playoff race. I'm still going to call it the chase, though, because that's how it's always been for me. I mean, it's going to be the chase for the Chick-fil-A Cup. That's what it's going to be once it comes time for that. And that's not going to be too far from now, got sign-ups on Friday night, and looking forward to getting that started. But anyways, we got an exciting day here for the Haas IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen, and Al Lagasse leading the first race of 2 here at the Watkins Glen International. Back here, Cameron Garlington trying to get around Christian Master for the 4th position. Garlington will take it from the number 25. Baranowskis is closing in on Al Lagasse, I do believe, but Lagasse was able to pull away when Baranowskis was side-by-side with Master earlier on in the race. But Al Lagasse, definitely a strong run for him in the number 20. He won at Riverside in the Kubota GT Championship earlier this season. So he knows how to get it done at the road courses. That is his only career win on Napa Fan. And looks like his second might possibly come at a road course as well. He's going to have to hold off Audra Baranowskis. Baranowskis has never won before on Napa Fan. She's only raced in the IndyCar Series. But she's definitely got a good chance at doing so here today as she runs second to the number 20 on lap 5 of 12 in race 1 in the duel at the Glen. It's calmed down a little bit up front. That is a good thing. Don't want to see too many crashes in this race, especially like we saw in the Indy Lights race. That was ridiculous. Now Baranowskis is closing in. It was about 1.23 seconds lap 4. Here on lap 5, it's now 1 second between the 16 and the 20 for the lead. So these guys, they kind of close in on each other. You got Skinlart and Garlington. Cameron Garlington, definitely a fast car in this number 77. He's closed up to Chris Skinlart for the 3rd position, and he might get around this 21 before this lap is over. Nicholas Samadeo, it's good to see him running up front. The Target Ganassi guys, and the Ganassi guys in general, have had a very tough season. But it's good to see one of those Ganassi guys run up front, running 5th right now. Nicholas Samadeo in the number 10. And Cameron Garlington, like I said, he might take 3rd away from Chris Skinlart before this lap is over. Well, here he is right behind the number 21 with a chance at taking the 3rd position. Trying to get to the inside of him, not able to do so quite yet, but he's right behind him. And I believe this number 77 is going to be able to take it before this race is over, especially. Number 16, Audra Baranowskis. I believe she has closed in some more on Al Lagasse, and we're going to have a battle for the lead here before this thing is done. It's funny, Audra Baranowskis was the pole sitter. She just hit the outside wall, and that's going to slow her down. Cameron Garlington to the inside of Chris Skinlart. I don't believe he's going to be able to make it stick. Skinlart's going to get a run to the inside of Baranowskis. But it looks like these guys are going to stay in this position, but Baranowskis has some damage, and this was the same situation in the Indy Lights race when Reagan Whitlock hit the outside wall. While he was leading, he bunched everybody behind him up, and they got into each other in a massive crash in the carousel. And we do not want that to happen again. These guys better be careful getting around the number 16 of Audra Baranowskis. She should just let these guys go if she cannot contend. Skinlart's going to take 2nd away from the 16, and Nicholas Samadeo is going to get around the 77 of Cameron Garlington, or at least attempt to do so. He's got the outside lane here, not able to do so, and Skinlart is still side-by-side with Baranowskis. This is exactly what Al Lagasse wants to see. Lagasse has led every lap so far here in race 1 in the duel at the Glen, and if they continue to race like this for 2nd place, he's going to win this race. Skinlart has cleared Baranowskis as she overshot the corner. As I was about to say, it was a funny thing because she started on the pole, but did not lead a lap yet, and she was closing in there on Al Lagasse, but it looks like she's not going to win this thing, especially considering the damage that she garnered from that incident a lap earlier. Garlington was able to clear Nicholas Samadeo. He's going to try to get around the 16 on the outside, but not able to do so. Skinlart really pumped the brakes there exiting NASCAR Turn 7, and Baranowskis is back to the outside of him. And Nicholas Samadeo has all of a sudden gotten around the 77, or is trying to get back around him again. Where did he come from? You guys are having very interesting braking patterns right now here at the Watkins Glen International. It's really creating a lot of interesting racing here for the 2nd position. Skinlart has yet to clear this 16 for the lead, but I believe he's finally going to do so exiting the carousel, but Garlington is right here in the number 77. And after all that has happened, remember, Garlington and Skinlart were battling for the 3rd position when Audra Baranowskis hit the outside wall. Darlington was not able to get around Chris Skinlart because the 16 was in their way, but it looks like this 77 might finally have a chance at getting around the 21. Darlington has cleared the 16. Looks like Nicholas Samedeo is going to try to take fourth away from the 16 of Audra Baranowskis. And Skinlart trying to pull away from these guys and catch up to Al Legacy, but we're halfway through race 1 here in the duel at the Glen. And it's going to take Al Legacy making a major mistake for him to lose this race. Number 20 with a 3-second lead right now, halfway through race number 1 in the duel at the Glen. But you know this corner, it's not that good of a corner. But Al Legacy is taking it very safe there, as you see. Very far on the inside there through NASCAR turn 7. Skinlart a little wide there through the final corner. And here comes Garlington for second. I believe this is the strongest guy on the racetrack right now, Cameron Garlington. And we'll see if this number 77 can get around this number 21. He's going to have the inside lane here through the S's. And that 77 definitely looking very strong here today. Cameron Garlington, the defending winner in race 1 of the duel at the Glen. I think it was race 1. It might have been race 2. I know he won one of the 2 races at Watkins Glen last year. So I know that he's got a chance of getting this one here today. Nicholas Samedeo is also a very strong car here in the number 10. He's right behind Cameron Garlington. He's going to slipstream right behind him and pass the 21 as well. But Garlington has taken second away from Chris Skinlart. Nicholas Samedeo, it looks like he's going to get around the 21 as well. And Samedeo up to third in the number 10. And Al Legacy's like, you guys battle for second place. I'm just going to drive away and win this thing. And that's what Al Legacy is doing right now here at the Watkins Glen International. But remember, we still got another race here today. And it might not necessarily be a dominating performance by a certain driver. We could have a very interesting battle for the lead, just like we're having for second place right now here in this one. Now focus here and try to find Jonathan Rains, who was up front earlier on trying to take the lead away from Al Legacy. He hit the outside wall. The guy he's trying to surpass in points is right behind him. And you see the 17 of Jonathan Rains running 14th right now with Matt Delia running 15th. Christian Master in the number 25 is still ahead of these guys, but the way they are currently running, Matt Delia would still be the points leader exiting race 9 of the season, which is race number 1 in the duel at the Glen. Race 10 of the season is going to be race number 2 later tonight, coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But you see the lead that Al Legacy has. It's going to take a major mistake out of him for him to lose this race. Look at all these guys bunched up for the second position. How about Noah Cars here and Cameron Gaju? Where have they come from? 6th and 7th right now. Great top 10 finishes. Great top 10 runs for them right now. They haven't finished quite yet, and a lot can happen here at Watkins Glen. But great top 10 runs for them right now here in race 1 in the duel at the Glen. And you got to hand it to Baranowskis, even considering the damage she has on her race car. She's still contending with these guys, trying to get around Chris Skinlart for 4th. And a great run for our pole sitter, Audra Baranowskis, in the number 16. But there's our leader, Al Legacy. He is dominating this thing here in the number 20. I'm trying to think. He was leading a lot, or was in contention to win one of the races so far this season. I can't remember which one it was. Part of me wants to think it was Lime Rock or Phoenix, but I just can't remember which one it was, where he had a good chance of winning but did not and lost it at the end. Now, I could be getting that confused with a Kubota GT Championship race. That's possible. But this number 20 of Al Legacy, it's looking like he's going to get this win here today in race 1 of the duel at the Glen. But there are still 3 laps to go. We've seen guys make very fatal mistakes here, and you might not want to count that possibility out of happening. And Al Legacy just better keep it clean, race these next 2.5 laps very cleanly, and he'll get the victory in race 1 in the duel at the Glen. You guys will see the point standings exiting race 9 of the season after the race is over. And then we'll get on to race number 2 coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll see the points at the end of that one, and it'll be a lot different from what we started here today. Let me tell you that. Matt Delia, not the best of runs for him here today, but he has gotten around Jonathan Rains, the guy who is right behind him in the point standings. He's going to finish ahead, and going to to get around Air Jalard and Alonso. Alonso won that fuel strategy race at Pikes Peak. And one thing, I don't know if I mentioned this, there are no pit stops here in the Watkins Glen races, and that's just because originally when I started using this racetrack, the pit road was always kind of messed up. They'd hit that pit road wall a lot, and I didn't really use it. Turns out that really isn't as much of an issue as I thought it was. Oh no! Al Legacy in the outside wall hard! And here comes Garlington in the 77. He got a great run off the corner. Like I said, you cannot count out a mistake happening out of the number 20, and it really happened there. He majorly hit that outside wall, and he's got a ton of damage to the outside of his race car, and Garlington is coming in the number 77. But like I was saying about the pit stops, if we were to have them, it would, you know, it wouldn't make the race too interesting. I mean, when we have a purely green flag race the whole way through without them coming down the pit lane, the racing is always fantastic, and this is a prime example of it. Al Legacy hoping to hold on here in the number 20, but you see the damage to his race car, and I believe Garlington's going to be running much faster in these next 2 laps. Garlington is the defending champion of this series. He's won an IndyCar championship. He's won a Chick-fil-A Cup Series championship. This guy knows what he's doing. By the way, Audra Baranowskis is moving her way through the field again to the outside of Nicholas Samadio for the 3rd position. How about this? Cameron Gaju is up to the 4th position in the number 22. Jesse Turner running 5th. Great runs for those guys. Ginlard has fallen back to 6th. And I believe something might have happened to Noah Cars. He's deep in the field in the number 28 right now, side by side with Stapleton back in there. We're coming to the white flag. Al Legacy trying to hold on with the damage he has to his race car. Garlington trying to close in the number 77. It's going to get very interesting here. Garlington avoids hitting the outside wall, and it's only going to be a couple seconds this time. Garlington majorly closed in that last lap. 2 seconds of a gap between Al Legacy and Cameron Garlington in race 1 of the duel at the Glen. I do not believe anybody else is going to have a chance of winning this thing. Samadio holds on the 3rd for now. Baranowskis running 4th, and Gaju in the 5th position. And you see these guys coming through, taking the white flag. Guys back in here, Matt Tuck, Jordan Lopez with issues here today, and Stuart Gratton as well, unfortunately. But here's the battle for the lead. Al Legacy, Cameron Garlington. I just don't know if Garlington's going to have enough. But Garlington knows how to get it done, I can tell you that much, and he might very well catch up to this number 20 before this race is over. Al Legacy trying to hold on. He hit the outside wall, completing lap number 10 of the race, and that is what allowed Cameron Garlington to close in for the lead. But I believe this 20 is going to hang on, only unless he makes a mistake through NASCAR Turn 7 or NASCAR Turn 7 or NASCAR Turn 6. Because both of those corners are very treacherous corners. We've seen a lot of guys make mistakes through them in this race weekend. And here we go. 2 more corners to go in race number 1. Legacy overshoots the curbs a little bit, but I believe this number 20 is going to do it. Really slow for the corner. And the number 20 of Al Legacy plays it safe and dominates race number 1 in the duel at the Glen. Al Legacy, his 2nd career win on Napa Fan here in the Haas IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen. Cameron Garlington finishing 2nd, Nicholas Samadio, Cameron Gaju, and I believe that Jesse Turner was able to finish in the 5th position at the end of all that. And Matt Dalio finished 8th. How about that for our points leader? Matt Dalio finishing in the 8th position. And Dalio is definitely going to remain in the points lead at the end of this one, but we still got another race at the end of the day. And who knows, it could be majorly different at the end of race 2 in Duel at the Glen here at Watkins Glen. But Al Legacy gets it done in race number 1. And every single driver finished on the lead lap in this race. That's a major improvement from the Indy Lights race that we had on Monday, I'll tell you that much. But still, had some guys back in there with issues. Stuart Gratton, Matt Tuck, Jordan Lopez. I believe they might have gotten involved in stuff. Eli Bright as well. But Al Legacy led from flag to flag. And he led every single lap here today at the Watkins Glen International, grabbing the victory in race number 1 in the duel at the Glen. And I think race number 2 is going to be a little bit more intense for the lead. saw Al Legacy dominate this one, but I think for race number 2, it's going to be much different. Cameron Garlington, Nicholas Amedeo, Cameron Gadju, great 4th place finish for him, and Jesse Turner rounds out the top 5. See the rest of the results right there. And that's race number 9 of the season, race 1 in the Duel at the Glen. But we're only halfway through the day here in the Haas IndyCar Series. Race number 2 coming right up at 6 p.m. Eastern Time here on Napa Fan. And I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to Al Legacy for grabbing the victory here at Watkins Glen. And I'll see you guys at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for race number 2 in the Duel at the Glen here at the Watkins Glen International. Here are the point standings exiting race 9 of the season. And I will see you guys later.
If it makes you look good, smile when you feel like you should. It's hard not to treat this like I could.